The following presentation is brought to you through the paid memberships of NotaryStars.com, the only notary training platform and resource library with over 150 hours of training on every loan product under the sun. Together with our sister website, OnlineNotariesPublic.com, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary, we strive to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without overfabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support us, please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member and trusting us to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Well, hello there, everybody. I gotta get my camera on so you can see me. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for being here and welcome to MGM, also known as Monday General Mentorship, brought to you every Monday except for holidays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Today is Monday, April 22nd, 2024. My name is Beth Hathoot. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, William Bumfrey, also known as Mr. Bill, and Mr. Ronnie Mickle. We're all here to help you excel in your notary business. So don't forget that we can bring you up to snuff on notary certificates, specific documents, loan signings, remote online notary, client relationships, and business marketing. To help make all of this happen tonight, we're going to ask you to please fire up those cameras. We want to see your beautiful faces. And if you have questions or want to share something with your fellow notaries, no sweat. Raise your virtual hand using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Or if you prefer keyboard combinations, try Alt-Y if you're on a PC or Option-Y if you're on Mac. One final thing here before we get started. Keep your eye on the chat as the evening progresses or on the description if you're watching this replay for links to other important pieces of information. Mr. Ronnie, are you ready to kick off the meeting for us?
Yes, and I just want to say to start off, I am never in a baseball cap or out in the country, but that's where I'm at today. I just spent 5 days driving across the United States. I'm now on the East Coast over in Georgia. And so you'll have to forgive the way I look, but I literally just rolled in to make it here for tonight. And then Beth, I just want to say to you, for the postings that we normally do in the chat, if you can help me with that tonight, I'm working on one screen. And then for everybody else here, I just want to let you guys know, and I think I can actually show this. I don't know if it'll show it or not, but there's still about 2,000 emails going out right now. I don't think you guys can see it with the filter on. There's still about 2,000 emails going out right now. You guys get an email when it's time to log in. We are now at 10,014. You guys have heard me say nearly 10,000, nearly 10,000. We are now at 10,014. And if you don't know how long it takes to send out that email to make sure that you get in on time, it's about 45 minutes. And so I start that email about 45 minutes early. We run that splash screen. One thing that you can do to help facilitate this session, two things actually. Number one, you can put this on your calendar as an optional event. You don't have to, put it on something that you can turn it a certain color or just say optional meeting and take the meeting with you. And then also you can also share the link. I'm sure that you guys have access to down at the bottom. You should be able to capture the link and share it with people. We post it in the chat at the very beginning of the session. Think about inviting another notary. We talk about some great stuff here. So it'd be nice to invite your notary friends and tell them to come to this event as well. We are never going to fluff it up for you with stuff that doesn't matter. So with that said, Miss Beth, I'm going to just remind everybody to please go ahead and get your hands raised. We've got about an hour together tonight. Go ahead if you brought questions. If you put them in on the jot form, we have them. But if you brought questions, go ahead and get your hands raised so that we can get them into queue. And then that's all I have to say to get it started, other than we would love to see your faces if you can turn on those cameras.
It's so much easier when we can see your reactions. Sometimes it's a head shake, no, I don't get it, or sometimes, yay, that's cool. That's a great tip. We need that kind of feedback so that we can gauge what to bring to you next. Ronnie, we've got a hand up already from Brenda in Florida. Brenda, do you want to unmute and ask your question? You'll get us started off tonight.
Just a quick question about the live calendar. Is there a way to link it to my Google Calendar so it pulls all of that information over there and then it sends me a text automatically?
There's not currently. We have toyed with a way to do that. The thing about doing that is, and what we found, and this is why I haven't pulled the trigger on it. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Bless you.
The reason I haven't pulled the trigger on that is because if an event, which we don't update or cancel here a lot, if you put something on your calendar and then we change it, it doesn't change it for like 2 to 3 days on your calendar. So that's my biggest worry with a syncing of that. We haven't found one that syncs fast enough, but that is coming if we can find the right sync. Right now, there is not. So it would be just you adding it to the calendar of the things that you want to attend at this moment, but we are working on it. And it is something that I would love to see come to fruition, but it's not. We've played with it and toyed with it and called companies about it, but that sync with Google for some reason just doesn't go through very well.
Working on it though, Brenda. Baby steps here. Hey, Ronnie, we had a great last couple of weeks or month of April here. Did you want to remind everybody about idiomatic translation services, the SEO webinar that you just completed, and then what we have coming up next week?
Yes. So, we spent a lot of this year, at Notary Stars, we've evolved. I mean, we are now at our 5th year. If you guys didn't know it, this is our 5th year. This month marks our 5th year. And that's, 10,000 notaries in here. We have had a lot of great weeks, but we had a great first quarter. I think we brought in all of the e-journals in and did them one by one. We brought in all the accounting software for you guys to do. Now we're kind of focused on 2 things. We did bring in idiomatic. I want to talk about that first. Just to remind you guys, last week we brought in idiomatic. It was one of the largest attended events, and it's also on our YouTube channel. So you can go to our YouTube channel. It's on our Notary Stars as well. This is another great way for you to make money. And if you haven't signed up for the affiliate link yet, you really need to do it, and you really need to get it on your websites and start knowing how to market it. I'm going to start bringing more of marketing like that into Notary Stars. I just want to be very careful about it and not get too far away from our notary hats. But I do want to bring in more ways for you guys to make money while you're being a notary. And this is a perfect dotted line. You don't have to learn anything. You turn it over to a professional in that industry. You make money for doing that. And then it could also bring you back some notarization in the future. The SEO seminar, I think it went well. There was over 400 registrants. I got it all out by Friday night midnight, despite driving across the country. And anybody who did attend that or has watched the replay, if you have questions on this year's, please don't hesitate to send me an email directly to contact@notarystars.com. And then we are now moving into bringing in apostille trainers. Okay. We've worked with Judy Lawrence, who, is the queen of apostille for a long time, and she will always have a place here at Notary Stars. She is a trusted trainer, but there are more trainers out there as well. And so we are bringing in 2 more trainers. The first one comes in on April 29th, and that's going to be with John Nelson, and he's got a new software that will make your life easier as an apostille agent. And if you are doing apostilles, you will want this. I've seen it. And I don't bring fluff here, and it's not a sales call, but I mean, of course it costs money, but it ain't crazy expensive. And it is something that it blew my mind. It's exactly what you need. I will let him come and tell you about it, but you will want this. And so mark your calendar. If you are remotely interested in apostille, you have to be here on the 29th. You just won't want to miss it. You won't want to wait for the replay. And if you wait for the replay, you're going to be like, oh my God, I wished I would have seen this yesterday. That's how special it's going to be. So I think I got that all caught up, Miss Beth. Are we ready to go into some questions?
I think so. Let me see what we got on the first one. You want me to read this first one off to you?
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it out.
This is from Anne Marie. She says, hi. During the mentorship, there was mention of an apostille app. Oh, yeah, well, we just talked about this on the website that we could use. Where can I find that information?
You will find it on the 29th and thereafter. So it's not actually on the website right now. And I saw that one coming, but you had already got halfway through the question, so I thought I'll just let this happen. But we can go on to the next one.
Okay. This one's kind of interesting. This is from Vicky. Vicky says, I live in the state of Hawaii on Oahu. The uniqueness of our state is geographic locations of signing requests. Our island chain is made up of 8 islands, but only the following ones would have signing locations for me: Oahu, Kauai, Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and the Big Island of Hawaii. I'm so proud of myself. I got all of those names right. I often receive signing requests that involves signing at outer island locations that I reply to as not available. I don't honestly know if this reply hurts my overall credibility with these companies. Do you believe there could be a better way for me to approach signing companies to help them be more efficient in reaching out through the correct demographics? She said she'll be attending tonight's webinar. Let's see if Vicky's here. Maybe we can bring her up.
And while you're looking for Vicky, I'm going to go ahead and start answering this, just coming from a signing agency perspective. If they're located in Hawaii, and by the way, I want to preface this with everybody who lives in a location where you might not be able to get to it because of a mountain chain. Like when I lived in Tucson, there was a little community that was, you literally had to ride along the mountain, and everybody thought it was just like a mile this way, but then you had to go along the base of a mountain and then turn right where they had where the mountain disappeared and then come back on the other side. So on the map, it kind of just looked like it was right there, but it was literally like 2 hours to get to it. And so I would have signings being offered to me. And even with Amrock, I had to explain to them, hey, it's going to take me 2 hours to go around the mountain. Nobody else is going to do it. I'll charge you $400. And, I would get it, because I was the only one willing to go 2 hours one way around a mountain and 2 hours back. So if you have locations that are far away, if you don't want to service them, it doesn't really hurt you to say no. Especially on SnapDocs, you do have to have a reply, so you can't just not say something. If you're in signing order, there's always the option, and I see notaries writing back sometimes, like Seattle notaries, they'll say, I have to take a ferry to get there. I would need, a higher fee. There's other places where people have to go through mountains or, take a boat or something to get there. New York notaries, I have to change 20 trains in order to get there. So you just have to kindly, politely. Do I think that you should pinpoint the signing services? Here's what I think you should do is look at all the signing services that are sending you the business. If they're local, they already know. And so if they're not local, take a screenshot of who's sending you the most business. If you see an order more than from the same person for 10 orders a month, maybe. If you see one a year, they're not going to have that appreciative, because they're only doing one there anyway. And coming from a signing agent perspective, we already prep title. When it comes to Hawaii, it's going to take a minute to get this. When we onboard a client, we say it's going to take a minute in Hawaii, to get an order assigned. So most signing services, after they've been in business for a year, have only done 1 or 2 orders in Hawaii and already know to prep the signing service, the title company, as soon as it goes in, to say, this is going to take a minute, or this could be far, or this might be more expensive, because Hawaii, number one, is really expensive just to live in, let alone operate in. And then there's things like getting from island to island.
So Vicky is here. Vicky, can you raise your hand so it'll bring you up to the top of our screens?
I don't know if you can see it, because I'm not sure I'm on your screen.
We found you. I'll pin you.
You found me?
Yeah.
Yep, we found you.
Okay, so my question though, I just came in, I'm sorry, was about the demographics of our islands. Even though onboard signing companies are counseled, sometimes I'm not sure they really understand we're not a contiguous state. We're individual islands.
Exactly.
I know people say Hawaiian Islands and they think Oahu is the only Hawaiian island because that's the main one, even though they have signings in many of our other islands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if you caught the part where I said, most of the platforms have something where you can write back and say, first of all, if it's like a hard no, like you're not going there anyway.
Right.
But most of the platforms have a way for you to reply and say, and I would say the kinder you are, the better, because I've met some Hawaiian notaries and some of them are not so nice. They'll write back things that, like, first of all signings go out with the fee that it would be in the state that it was coming out in. You may negotiate and say, with all respect, there's a ferry ride or a boat ride for me to get there. This is my fee, and leave it at that. Now, if you see a lot of business coming out, look them up, and if they're local, they already know. But if they're not local to you, like they're out of Arizona, like I am, if you see an order going out, see if you can help them with that reply, and then ask them in that transaction, would you like me to help you? Are you going to have more signings here? I can, get you a map and get you a price point fee for all of these locations.
Okay. That was my question.
And if you want to send one of those to Unlimited Ink, I will gladly take it, because when
thank you.
When they come out and I have a title company going, well, I have a signing on, Oahu, how much will that cost? I might be able to say, well, you know what? I got Vicky and she can go do it for X amount of dollars and get that quote right on the table. Having that in my back pocket would be very helpful.
Right.
Now, Miss Vicky, the only advice I want you and everybody else to hear is make your price based on you, not on the signing services or the title companies you work with. Make it uniform across the board. If that's what it costs for you to go there, don't give Ronnie a special price because he's Notary Stars. And I have people who have done that for me. Make it your price for no matter who it is, so that none of your clients can say, well, I heard you do them for this company for this much, or I heard you do it for this.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Make your price about you and your business.
Yeah, one of the other extremely unique things about Hawaii is that, yes, we did have a ferry and it ran beautifully, but unfortunately, the conservation people here got up in arms and made the ferry go away.
Oh my gosh.
So we don't have, the only way we have to get from island to island is, and you don't want to take someone's boat because it'll take forever to get there, is by plane. That's the only way we have to go.
Oh my.
It's very similar in Alaska. I mean, they're not going cross water, but like in Alaska, some of the notaries I've heard have taken helicopters or planes, to get across Alaska to do closings. And there's, a lot of places you don't want to be by yourself in Alaska, without a plane or a helicopter to get out. So, and it's beautiful, but you wouldn't want to be on, you wouldn't want to go across mountains like that. You just have to inform them. It's no different than with like the ones in Seattle where they have to take a ferry. It's very understandable. And if they're in New York and they've never been to Hawaii before, they're not going to know. You're their eyes and ears.
Okay. I appreciate that. No, I understand. I just I don't know, because you seem to be very knowledgeable about Hawaii. And I do get things with people that are just very, and not all of them have the ability. All I can say is, no, I'm not available. Doesn't give me a chance to explain why I'm not available. And that's where my concern was. Are they starting to recognize that I'm never available? And it's only because they're coming in from other islands that it's not financially feasible for me to go.
Do you know what platform they're coming in on like this?
I'm not sure. Some of them have their own platforms. And I used to use SnapDocs all the time, but now I haven't seen any. It's the SnapDocs. Am I right with that one?
Yeah, SnapDocs and Signing Order are going to be the two biggest for for signing services. For signing services like mine, I mean, BankServe has its own, but they all have a button called counter offer. You may be looking for a different kind of button, but if you hit counter offer and you put in that message, it's going to send it back. And a good
Okay.
signing service, and I have to say this because I want other signing services to hear this, because I hear all the time notaries say, I hit reply and I don't hear anything back. Unlimited Ink has it set to say, thank you, these are our parameters. We will let you know, and this is what we do when we assign. And for counter offer, we have an email that goes back and says, we will consider it. And so that counter offer goes back to someone, whether they have it set to tell you or not, which they should. Signing services step up to the plate. It should go back and tell them. I mean, it does go back and tell them whether you get a copy of that or not.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for helping me with that. I just kind of was getting a little frustrated because I try and do as much as I can, but it's not easy. And we only now have one inter-island airline. We used to have two.
I'll tell you one more thing too to make you feel better. No one's going to throw, you got to burn somebody's house down in Hawaii and set that island on fire before they're going to throw away a notary over there, because they're not easy to come by. There's not a lot of notaries in Hawaii, and the ones that we know, out of 50, probably about 50 through all of Hawaii that do what we do, about 25 of them have a chip on their shoulder that, you know, make you not want to talk to them. So if you're being nice to people, they're not going to throw you away.
Okay.
They're going to want to continue to work.
Thank you for that. Yeah, because I'm isolated. You know, mostly I don't have some of the feedback except on your webinars and stuff, but mostly it deals with the mainland, which is significantly different than Hawaii. So that's the only thing, you know, I just wanted to kind of run it by you.
Yep, we appreciate it. I think this was valuable for everyone, because even if you're not in an area like Hawaii, a lot of people have challenges very similar to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yep. All right. Well, thank you. And I'll let you know if I have other questions. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Bill, I think this next question might be for you. Let's see. Also in-person. In-person electronic notary is acceptable in Georgia, but I can't find any training on it for the state. Please help.
All right. So, in-person electronic notary, which is also iPen, I-P-E-N, that is when you're going and meeting somebody and you're doing a signing in person, but electronically. So you've got an iPad or a mobile device or a laptop. You're meeting the person, you're physically seeing their ID and sharing the space with them at the same time, but the documents are filled out electronically rather than paper. So as far as getting training on it, it's really not that much different than doing a traditional notarization. It's just that the documents happen to be on the computer. So the training that you're going to receive probably would not be from the state itself, but from the platform that you're choosing to do the iPen on. So if you're doing it on ABC remote notary platform, they're the ones that are going to teach you how to do the iPen on there. The other thing to consider is, where is it coming from? So if it's coming from a signing service and that's all they're doing is iPens, more than likely they're setting you up on a certain site that you log into, and you get training for that. So like Amrock, for instance, is one of them where, you know, you have to go through training and they show you how to do it. But training specifically for iPen itself, I don't know that they would have anything specific. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that, Rodney, or.
No, I agree. I mean, doing an iPen is very similar to a RON. You're just actually in front of the person. You're going to do very, very similar things, except you're not being recorded and all those things. Be very careful, though. The only company that I know right now, and if you guys know any more, please put them in the chat. But the only company I know that actually does iPen or in-person electronic notarizations is Amrock. There may be other companies out there that do them, but here's how Amrock rolls, and I got this straight from vendor management. They try to do everything now through Ron, then they go to iPen, then it goes to paper closing. So that company, literally everything should be, you know, and if you're California, they may not be doing the Rons with you, but they might be doing hybrids, which is a form of iPen, except you're not doing the notarization part. So there's not really any training. And if you're working for a vendor that does it, they generally give you a training. Like I know when we all did hybrids, or if you've done hybrids for Amrock, they put you through this little, they call it skilo training. And so, yeah, you need to learn the platform, but the principles of notarization don't really change. It's just the medium that you're doing them through.
I'm going to take a moment to pop in here only because I don't know who submitted that. And we've got 91 people on the call. I just want to point something out to y'all because I got to get this off my chest. The language said in-person electronic notary. I want you guys to know that the term notary is a person. We don't do notaries. That's oop. Poke out my third eye. That's something I can't unsee. We do notarizations. Okay. We don't do notaries. That's a person. Just wanted to get that out there.
And guys, she gets me on that. She used to get me on that when I was still out in the field. I'd say, I got to go do a notary. And she'd be like, you can't do a notary. There is no way to do a notary. So that is Beth's pet peeve.
Pet peeve,
And I'm
definitely.
laughing because I have said it more than once. I don't say it anymore. But she got me on that many, many, many times.
We've got Biscuit's got his hand up here, probably on this same topic. So Biscuit, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, so I know that for iPen, you have to let the escrow company, they have to have part of that because if you just go and do it, it's going to get rejected. I had that happen recently, not by me, by one of the people that I talked to here in Tennessee. They went into a chat and said, "Why was this rejected?" Oh, because it didn't come through the title company. Also, I am certified through a place called Escrow Tab, and Escrow Tab does free training and certifies you, and then you get on their list so that when they sell Escrow Tab to a title service, they give a whole list of people that's already signed up with Escrow Tab. So
Yep. Mm-hmm.
that's if you want to learn, that'd be a good way to learn.
Escrow
And
Tab's
that's,
probably the biggest one out there right now. Blue Notary also does iPen, don't they, Ronnie?
Yes, pretty much every Ron platform out there pretty much has its own form of iPen. And I have to say this, you know, before we get suckered into buying something, see if one of the platforms that you are using comes along with it, or that if it can be used for that, like Blue Notary can be used for it. I'm just want to make sure, because when we go to conventions, that's what they're designed to do, is sell you things. And, you know, we all know how I feel about that. So just be very careful that you don't purchase something additional that your current platform might already have, or another provider might have for less cost.
And I just wanted to kind of trail off of what he just said too there. Just because you have the ability to iPen does not mean you can convert a traditional paper signing to an iPen. So make sure that you don't do that once you get the permission or once you have the ability to do it. It has to be something that the receiving party is okay with. You can't just make that executive decision.
Yep. Miss Beth, this next question is really, I believe, up your alley. It comes from Michelle G, and it says, how How do I save for retirement beyond or outside of Social Security? Any suggestions would help. Thank you in advance for all that you do for the notary community. I know she's talking directly to you when she says all you do, because all you do is sit over there and work for things to put out for Notary Stars. So she's got to be talking to you on that one. What would be your suggestion for saving for retirement outside of Social
My very first suggestion is to talk to your tax accountant. They're in the very best position to be able to advise you on a vehicle to save with or a financial planning company to steer you in the right direction. You know, there are lots of things you can do apart from a straight savings account. We're all business owners and we can set up our own 401ks. They're not called 401ks. They're, dang it, I wish Travis was here. He could tell me. I was having a lot of trouble today finding my words because I have no sleep last night. But you can put money into IRAs, but there's actually a 401k for small businesses that you can set up a SEPA account. That acts very much like a 401k where your company as a business matches your contribution. So it's a very quick way to amass some savings. So talk to your accountant first, see if they have any suggestions for vehicles for you to save money. That is, and it depends on how old you are too. You don't want to take a big risk if you're my age. So we're not going to be playing the stock market. We want something that's stable, maybe slow growth, but stable. So we're not losing money. We want to amass some wealth so that we can plan for our retirement. Start with your accountant, go to a financial planning company and see what's available to you for sure.
And Miss Beth, I think the very most important thing that you're alluding at here or said is make sure you go to somebody that's not soliciting to you. Generally, when it comes to saving for retirement, I woke up on the news this morning to people talking about buying annuities and things, and I thought that's the worst person to buy from is somebody that's on TV talking about it. Generally, when someone's marketing those types of things, the good people get their business from referrals. I have just found in this industry that when they come for you at the throat or down your ear, it's usually run the other way.
Yeah, you don't want the snake oil salesman for sure.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion? This is not, again, not a legal advice or a monetary advice, but what I do with mine is I set up a bill for my retirement that I have to pay every month, just like I pay a cable bill or an electric bill or any other bill. I have a bill set up where I have to pay my retirement. Like I put the money in there so that it doesn't hit you all at once when you get like at the end of right before tax time and you're like, oh, you can contribute this much. And you're like, oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. But where are you going to put the money? That's what we want. What's the vehicle to put the money in there? And then how much? 15% of your profits of what you make? My business is set up a little bit differently because I'm a corporation and I actually pay myself payroll. So it's easy for me to withhold money. So the personal Beth never gets the money in their check in the first place. It's automatically put in a SEPA account and my IRA for me. So yeah. So how much do you put in there, Bill?
How much do I put in every month?
Percentage. What's your percentage?
Oh, I don't do a percentage. I do a fixed amount. I know roughly what I can contribute yearly after having done my SEP and my traditional and all that for so many years. And I know what it ends up usually being. So I just try and set that much aside monthly because it's a big chunk otherwise. You know, when you go to the CPA and he says, oh, you can contribute this much to your IRA and offset your taxes by this. And you're like, yeah, but that's a lot to come up with at one time. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Set it aside as soon as you get it monthly for sure.
Miss Beth, there's a great question for you next in that chat, but it was sent directly for me. There's one that I want to read off the question really quick because I think we're at the height of everybody tuning in. But this next one is for you for sure because it's about documents. But there's one that's on our sheet that says, I'm looking to make my notary business as a second job, and I'm a Ron certified, Ron and signing agent certified. Not sure where to begin. And it's not that I want to pass off the question, but we get this question almost every week. Where do I start? And I would say you start by signing up for Notary Stars. We have literally everything that you can possibly need to learn everything about the documents. We have all the hiring companies verified. We have 24/7 almost phone support for you as a signing agent. For anybody out there that's looking to start, if you're watching the replay or if you're here tonight, it would be so wonderful in an hour call if I could tell you exactly how to set up this business. But that 150 hours of training that we offer at Notary Stars, that'll help you. It will really help you set up your business. So not that I'm skipping over the question, but I want to make sure anybody out there that's looking to start, you got a great home base here to get started. You just have to make that step. The door is always open. But this next question is for you, Miss Beth, and this comes from Israel out of Arizona. He says, in a seller's package document, certification for no information reporting on the sale of exchange of a principal residence was a 7th question added. And I haven't seen one in a minute, so I don't know.
Yeah, actually, there's 2 forms, and you have to look at which one is current. I don't think the one I have here has a date on it, but it does have 7 questions on it.
Guys,
So-
that's how Beth is. She has it hanging. That was put into the chat. She's got it hanging on the wall behind her.
That's how often we get
You
these
knew this
questions.
question was coming before it was ever typed in.
Listen, we've got the 7 question format cheat sheet on the website under downloadable resources. So guys, if you are a member of Notary Stars, any level membership, you have access to, except for profile only, right? You have access to those downloadable resources, and that cheat sheet for the certification for no information reporting with the 7 questions is on there, and it'll walk you through how to help your signer go through and answer those questions. We're not telling them what the answer is. We're rephrasing the question because they're double negatives and they can be confusing, right? We're rephrasing what the question asks so they can understand it. And we always recommend that you kind of print it out and take it with you to a signing as well. Let them try their hand at it. If they look like they're struggling, just say, hey, I've got a cheat sheet here for you. Let me pull it out and read you these, and we'll go through them together. And they love it. Does that answer the question, or am I off base here?
I think it does. I don't see any comment in there from Israel, but I think it does.
Okay.
And then
The
Israel,
7th
you are a
question.
member, so you can get that cheat sheet to help you with it as well from the downloadable resources.
Yeah, let me get that link for you guys. Let me look that up while Ronnie continues to talk, and I'll throw that in the chat for you.
The next question that we have written in, and guys, we have probably about 20 minutes left. If you have questions in the gallery, please get those hands raised. We're just going in what you sent in before, but we love to mix in your questions. The next question actually comes from VJ out of Florida, who I'm hoping to meet in about 2 weeks when I get down to Jacksonville. I am plugging that I'm currently in Georgia, going up to Atlanta next week, and then I'll be going down to Jacksonville. So any of the notaries in that area, look out for an email. But VJ said, I will be officiating a wedding for the first time, and I want to know advice, tips you can offer. I don't see any recorded sessions. So VJ, we don't teach weddings here, and I don't think that we will be bringing that on. I think the best trainer out there for weddings is Mark Grolier, and we actually have had him in twice to Notary Stars. I'm going to actually share my screen and show you where you can find that in the journey. Of course, now this is just a starter for him, and let's see if I can share my screen here. Let's see, basic screen share. Sorry, I'm still I've gone from 3 screens to 1 screen, so I'm out of my element. So this is the page here where we have it. And if you look under the members only training, it's going to be under, sorry, my little Zoom bar is breaking that up. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. So it's going to be under your training, and it's going to be for additional services for notaries. So anytime we talk about an additional service or things that you can do for your notary business, that's where you're going to find these, and you'll see the wedding officiant right here on there. He does have a book, and then he has an introduction to his course as part of our training. We have him here. I think the last time he was here was in 2022, which I can't believe, but he's an amazing resource. It's called The Unboring Wedding, and I took the course. I paid for it myself. I think it's an excellent course. I'm a wedding officiant as well. I think it'll knock the edge off. It helps you learn how to write vows, all of those things, and make yourself more confident in what you can actually charge as a wedding officiant. So when you're ready, Miss VJ, highly recommend Mark Grelier. Tell him Notary Stars sent you. You won't get any kind of discount for that, but let him know that our community does push toward his community, and I think he's the best in the entire industry on our level. You're going to get the best education there.
Agreed. Totally agree. You've got a hand up in the gallery, Mr. Mickle. It's Rod Tallman. Rod, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Hey, Mr. Rod.
Sure. Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Good.
All right, good. Question for you. Recently, I had a local title officer reach out to me on a networking platform called Alignable, and I accepted her invitation, and I've been inundated with all kinds of stuff from them that some looks halfway interesting and decent, others and just go, God, maybe I should just quit this thing altogether. And I'm just curious if you've ever run across that networking platform called Alignable, and if you have, is it worth the time and effort, our time and effort to participate in it?
I have to be careful because sometimes I can offend people with my honest opinion. And my honest opinion is it's a spammy, failed LinkedIn that's not very good for business. But if you got a snatch on it from a title company, I'd pursue it to see where you can do with it. But I just have never. I remember when it came out, and it's one of these things where you have to invite somebody and become a part of their network, and it's like too time consuming for me in order to get business done. And then you have to network and all of those things. I'd say that you will have I don't believe LinkedIn is a great way to get clients, to be honest. I think it's a great way to stalk clients, but not get them. I think this would be the worst of the worst. It would not even compare to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's not even that great.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've just been flooded with emails and that this doesn't sound right. So that's great. Good feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Neitzel and Laura Buer, Bill Soroka, and that TNT camp kind of have it on their list of groups, networking groups to join. But I happen to have the same opinion as Mr. Ronnie, and I don't think we've ever even talked about it before. I think it's a spammy kind of group, and I'm just like him. I don't have time to weed through the garbage to get to the good stuff. But if you've had that fortunate occurrence of having that title company agent reach out to you, pursue that for sure. But yeah, it's a swamp. It's a swamp kind of process. So you have to kind of wade through it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you, Mr. Rod.
Yeah. Good to be here.
Miss Beth, am I still sharing my screen? I can't find. Sorry,
No.
I'm not used to doing one screen anymore.
I know it's crippling, isn't it?
It really is.
You are we just got your face, so you're not sharing.
Okay, perfect.
This one is a bit of a holdover I think, from last week, and I think it's for you, Mr. Mickle. It's talking about Google and Yelp. So this says, I'm kind of ticked off that the majority of my Yelp reviews are labeled not currently recommended. What would you think if I were to take all of those reviews, display them in a narrated video, and post the photo or video section of Yelp or Google? Will the Yelp gods get angry and take revenge? I watched Billion Dollar Bully. Should I be scared?
Yes. First of all, don't mess with Google because we need it. It is the biggest marketing channel, 98% of all searches to date. You don't want to mess with them. And I hope that Mr. DM from Florida, is it okay to use this as an example? You know, David Mercatz, we posted in our Facebook chat recently. He actually had someone scam him, and Google took down his listings for a while because he kind of said, how are you making this happen? And I went and I was like, well, you don't even have a listing now. And so don't mess with Google, even if they'll find a way to get you. You don't want to, you can't mess with them. Yelp, on the other hand, I like to toy with. And I recently had an email exchange with one of the, I had one of them cuss me out from one side or the other. I'm sure I got them fired, but they call in, they talk about marketing. I actually wrote a blog with a ton of passion. I'm putting into the chat right now on how to deal with Yelp. Please, guys, don't ever give them $1. Read that article, please, because you do need them for SEO value. They have a very strong website, but they're absolutely horrible for our industry. And I have a blog that I just put in there, why. I'll let you guys read it for yourself. I did a video on how to set up a Yelp listing, what you need to do with it, what you don't need to do with it. And I also have one for Google as well. Miss June, you've been in my marketing course, and I showed hundreds of people in the last 2 years how to come up even before Yelp and even beat Google My Business. They used to say, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, I say join them long enough till you can beat them, and then make your website come up above them. And please, guys, read that article. It's absolutely free. It is one stepping stone along your journey. And if they're hiding your reviews, we don't do that at Notary Stars. Start asking for more on Notary Stars. It'll make your listing more powerful.
Awesome. All righty. I think we've got another one for you, Mr. Ronnie. You're getting
I'm getting a lot of marketing questions this week because I did the seminar last week.
Right. This one says, I passed my notary signing agent exam on NNA, and I got an 80%. I believe they said they would report the results to signingagent.com. Should I report my results to Notary Stars and Signing Order?
Well, in a way, yes. Everybody who takes the NNA test, it goes into your signingagent.com profile. This is the NNA's first directory, not the one that they're pushing everybody to buy now. Remember, they had a free one that didn't work before. But that profile link, you can link inside your Notary Stars. You can also link it into Signing Order, so it keeps it up to date. The only thing that you need to be mindful of is that the email address on your NNA profile needs to match whatever is in Signing Order and in Notary Stars. So use the same email on your profile or they will not sync together. We had a whole session about that earlier last year, or yeah, it was last year. God, time flies. I was going to say it was last month, but it was sometime last year around this time that we announced that you do have to have that matching email address on that signing agent profile. But that's how you would report it, is use that link and put it into Notary Stars, put it into Signing Order.
Perfect. Another marketing question. Are you up for it?
Yes. I don't, well, I'm going to breeze really quickly past this one and we'll just keep going. Ms. Doris had asked, how can we tell if any transaction from our dynamic pages, are there any notaries who can tell us of this experience so far? Most people on this call are not going to understand what dynamic pages are, so I'll address that one in Wednesday's mentorship for the marketing students. Most people on this call will not know what we're talking about. So I don't want to go to people can't follow.
10 minutes left. If you have a question, get your hand raised. Get in queue. Come on, guys.
Miss Beth, I do think it's important that we address what's going on in Colorado. Do you think that we could bring that up tonight, or do you think it should be better for like a community tip that we put out?
I think, well, we can talk about it. Colorado just did a revision on their Rule 8, 1505-11, that talks about transparency to customers concerning notary fees. And apparently the Secretary of State did a revision on the rules because they were getting a lot of complaints from consumers that notaries were overcharging them for fees on their certificates. What they did on that ruling was state that, and title became, there was a hearing, I listened to the hearing, two notaries made their case and a title company. The title company actually got an exemption from stating they, title companies can do what they've always done, just put a line item on the settlement statement for the notarial fees, whereas before in the proposal, they were trying to make it so title and the notary had to provide an itemized statement to show what they were charging for the notarial acts, as well as the other services in general notary work, which would be, driving, mileage, wait time, whatever else they're allowed to charge for. It all had to be set out in an itemized statement. As a notary signing agent, they would also be required to leave an itemized statement at the signing. And this totally freaked out title company. And they said, if we're required to list how much we are charging per notarization, then every time we add a document or take away a document, it changes that closing disclosure. And if you guys know anything about loan signing, every time a penny changes on that closing disclosure, they have to wait another 3 days and redisclose to the consumer before they can sign. They add another document and it adds a notarial fee. They have to put that line item on there, changes the whole thing. They're waiting another 3 days, disclosing, doing a new closing disclosure, and it's delaying the closing. Title explained their predicament pretty handily, because what they did was go in and say, I recognize the problem. Here's the problem it would create for us. The biggest issue is inconveniencing the consumer. And the lawmaker said, oh, yeah, we don't want to do that. We're not going to inconvenience the consumer. So you're exempt. You can keep doing what you're doing. But they did not exempt the notaries. The notaries, regardless of whether they're in a signing, a loan signing, or doing general notary work, have to provide an itemized statement of fees at the table. This, of course, every notary in the country, hair went up on the back of their necks and said, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Title's not going to use us if we even leave anything at the table when we're hired. What they didn't do in those hearings, the two notaries that presented their case, while it was kind of painful to listen to, they didn't present the case for the consumer. They didn't say, we're not charging for notarization, so we shouldn't have to itemize for them. And in some cases, guys, there's as many as 14 notarizations in one package. Can you imagine the kind of money they'd have to pay us if they paid us per notarization? I'd go for that, but that's not how it works, right? They pay us a fee to present, collect signatures, dates, return documents back to our hiring party. That's what we're being paid for. The fact that sometimes, well, most of the time, we're doing notarizations is just part of the job. Because sometimes, think about it this way, sometimes we don't do any notarizations. We don't do any notarizations on loan applications, right? We don't do any notarizations for maybe following up on somebody else's mistakes and collecting a couple of more signatures where somebody messed up, trailing documents, right? So sometimes we're notarizing and sometimes we're not. So we are not charging. When we do notarize, we're not charging for the notarization. And that's the piece that those two notaries did not say in that hearing. This is not our customer. We're a third-party independent person hired to do a specific job that sometimes requires notarization, but the consumer does not pay us directly. That comes from title or signing service. They never said that. All they said was, you know what this is going to do? That we're going to, and they're going to, and we're going to have a problem, and it's going to be hard on me, and I've got to do an invoice. All they did was present from their side of the table, and that's what lost the game for the notaries. Okay. There were a few other notaries out there who were doing it electronically and phone calls and petitions. And still, those people in that hearing voicing their case just failed to mention that there was a problem and there should be a solution. They ignored those two pieces and went straight for their own benefit, and it lost them the game. But now these notaries have to figure out how they're going to be able to present an itemized statement at the table, not necessarily an invoice, right? Because again, they're not paying us, but an itemized receipt at the table and have title accept that behavior. So we're still trying to navigate that. There was a email that I was privy to. It was not addressed to me, but to somebody else. And it was from the legal analysts at the Secretary of State's office. And basically what she said is the rule now requires documentation to show that the Notary Republic has complied with the existing law that says you're itemizing your services, right? And that the notary has not charged more than the statutory maximum for that notarization. To ensure that there's such documentation and compliance, the rule requires the notary to provide a contemporaneous document. So you can't do it after the fact. It has to be done at the table when you're doing the loan signing, that a notary can use to show that any changes beyond the statutory maximum were services other than the Notarial Act. Okay. The rule simply requires documentation of compliance just to make sure. So the notary, here's the solutions that the Secretary of State provided. The rule does not require the creation and delivery of an invoice. An invoice is a demand for payment. So we don't want to be presenting an invoice at the table, okay? No demand or any type of demand for payment, especially when the signer is not the one paying for the notary services. The notary could provide written documentation in the form of a basic summary, a note, or even a simple business card listing the notary's basic price list on the reverse of the card. Here's the deal. In a loan signing, we're not charging for notarizations. We just simply aren't. So the easiest thing probably would be that business card process. You know, here's the loan number, notarizations 0, signing package presentation $90, whatever it is, right? Printing, presenting, scanning, and delivering back to the hiring party. So these are things that notaries are going to have to work out with title, what the best way to do that is, Unlimited Ink is still working on their process, and it's probably going to come down to, for their notaries in Colorado, it's probably going to come down to a sheet of paper that the notary will sign off on, and a copy is in the buyer or the seller or whoever it is in their document package that she leaves with them. Itemizing what the fees are, right? 0 for notarizations, and the rest is the loan presentation. Here's the rub. Colorado has 15% self-employment tax. If they're not showing that they're charging for the notarization, they're still recording the notarization in their journal. But do they get to take? This is something I haven't talked to you about. Do they get to take that self-employment tax exemption for 15% of a loan signing? Notarization exact is what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't know because I just hand everything to a professional attorney that does taxes and help and do that. But however, I will tell you, it scares me for the notaries who think that they can write off for years and years and years that self-employment tax to get it, not pay it. We actually have a notary who reported to me that they did that, and then the IRS, it raised a big red flag, and now they're reviewing all of their taxes, which is something we never want to happen. Is to have, Uncle Sam say, let's sit down and talk about this. I've just heard about that coming, so I don't know, and I don't want to. I've always been very careful to voice any opinions because I'm not a tax person.
No, I wasn't asking for a answer. I was just raising it as a query.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought, because you said this is not something I talked to you about, and I was like,
no.
Okay. You would have got the same answer then too.
It was a think tank question. So there's the rub between what the notaries think they ought to be doing and what title is going to allow them to do. And you guys if you're in Colorado and or if you're a signing service and you work with notaries in the state of Colorado, you're going to have to figure out something that appeases both sides, that allows the notary to stay within that ruling and the title company to be appeased with what we're leaving at the table during one of their signing appointments. And here's the thing, it could all fall apart tomorrow, and a title company could say, you know what? I don't do anything but just in my own little area. We're a builder company and we work with these builders. That's all we do. We're going to stop using mobile notaries. That would be a terrible outcome.
Yep.
Okay.
And Miss Beth, before we move on for this, I just want to point out, I posted it in the chat earlier, but this is the perfect time to remind people. Right now I'm posting in the chat several petitions that are going around in different states, and a lot of notaries don't sign them because it doesn't pertain to them. Colorado notaries could have used the rest of the country to back them up in this conversation. And if you start going through a conversation in your country, you do have, maybe I or Beth are not the person that's going to be able to give you all of the information that you need to go in front of, lawmakers, but we can put you in touch with people who teach you how to say the right thing, coach you in the right direction, because it's a win across the country when something like this comes up. Not to get too political, but when one state wins and we're able to use that as an example and say, this was the outcome and this is what happened, and you use it in your state, we can put you in touch with other notaries that have gone through this. And, what we saw from those Colorado notaries representing all the notaries there, 2 people, did not come out very well. So just a reminder, please sign those petitions that we post here every week. And if you have a petition for your state, please send it to Notary Stars. We'll include it every week and get signatures on it. But once you sign it, put it on a little sheet like I have here, and just continue to ask all your notary friends in every platform that you go to don't forget to let's help our fellow notaries and sign those petitions. The louder we get, the better it gets.
For sure.
Miss Beth, Yolanda's had her hand up for quite some time. And I want her virtual hand to come down so that she's not so tired with her virtual hand up there. Miss Yolanda, are you ready to ask your question?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, great. So I've been following you guys for a while, and I wanted to know if I should invest in does Notary Stars certified NSAs for Indiana, or should I don't I'm kind of like don't know which course to take. Should I take NNA's Indiana course, or should I do your course?
So
Indiana has a little different thing to where you have to you have to be a license. They got a license that you have to apply for. And I forgot the name of it.
Typic.
title producer's license.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you do have to take, every single one of us on this call, self included, have to take the National Notary Association test every single year. And there will be requirements in your state. Now, when it comes to operating as a loan signing agent, Notary Stars is valid for the entire country. It doesn't matter
Okay.
what state you're in. We're not state specific. You will find that we have an inundating amount of training past that gateway. And you had written in and you said, it seems like yours is more than NNA, and you're right. The NNA just scratches the surface of what we do. What we do here at Notary Stars is we literally take a loan package, and there are people out there that say there's only one loan package. No, there's not. You take all the title companies and all the lenders and you marry them together and you get lots of different documents. And that's where I found notaries really mess up, is when one little thing in a loan package changes and they don't know how to pivot, or there's two loan packages, or you're selling or buying, and or there's a HELOC added on. When you understand all those concepts, you unlock the doors faster of getting hired by companies. And when you have more about the loan products, you're more educated, you can have better conversations. That's why I started Notary Stars, really, is to kind of shorten the curve that I had to learn. I wouldn't have wanted to be my own notary for the first 2 years. 15 years later, owning a signing service, I see a lot of people on their first day out, and I try to have compassion with them as long as they want to fix their errors, but it will help you shorten that curve, and you can do them simultaneously. You will find that what we do here truly surpasses the National Notary Association, with no disrespect to them.
Yeah, I understand.
They're not a they're a certification course basically saying that you understand the ethics of this industry. And that's what that test really is a test of your ethics. Would you make the right decisions in this business? We are more about the documents themselves.
Okay.
NNA is ethics and we're processes.
Yes.
Okay. That explains it all. Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome. Thank you.
to Miss Beth McGee, if you don't mind emailing me that you posted in the chat for the New York, I don't think I have that on the list that I'm posting every week. If you don't mind emailing that to me to contact at Notary Stars. Oh, yeah, I do have it in there.
Was going to say that's Marcy Tiberio's initiative. Yeah.
I had posted it in there. I just want to make sure that we are posting. So guys, if you do have any, even if you're not a Notary Star member, if you have a petition that you need signed in your state, please bring it here, because we'll make sure that people find out about it. And Miss Beth, we're about 9 minutes over. And I know that we have 2 hands up, but guys, we are past our bedtime. And for those of you that are on the East Coast, I now know how you feel, because after driving 5 days across the country and making it to this time of night, I'm ready to go to bed. I'm going to ask if you all turn on your cameras. I feel like I've literally driven to the moon and back. It would be nice to see your faces tonight. If I could get you to turn on your cameras, and let's give our signature wave. There will not be a screen tonight on how to download the chat, because I don't know how to get that up on one screen. So you guys are going to miss that for the next, month or so. So if you know how to download the chat, share it with a friend. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are not naked, turn on those cameras and let's give our signature wave. And Miss Beth, how do we say it here at Notary Stars?
We're going to do it the right way this time. Guys, I just want you to remember that we're all in the same storm. We are not all in the same boat. Some of us have yachts, some of us have canoes, and some of us are just dog paddling. So please be kind. Just remember, reach back, grab the hand of the notary next to you and show them the way. Take them along with you on your journey. Have a good evening, guys. Take care. Thanks for
Good,
being here.
everybody.
We'll see you next Monday.